JMU Nation, it is Dave Thomas, the radio play-by-play voice for football and men's basketball. We're joined now by assistant men's basketball coach Andrew Wilson. Coach, how are you doing, first of all?
Yeah, hey, Dave. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. I'm actually I'm down here with my family down in Florida right now, and we have not found a house yet up in Virginia to move into, and we are out of our house in Georgia. So we're a little bit in between right now. There's definitely worse places to be stuck than down in sunshiny Florida. So we're doing well, though. We're doing well.
Tell us about your family, if you will, a little bit, please.
Yeah, so I've got a wife and 3 kids. My 3 kids are ages 11, 8, and 21 months. Our 11 and 8-year-old are 2 girls, Kate and Mackenzie, and our 11-year-old is our real estate agent right now. She is scouring Zillow and every other possible real estate app to try to find us a house. I think she's the most upset right now that we don't have a permanent residence right now. But so she's been a big help with that. And our 20-month-year-old is a boy named Knox, and so he is we have a lot going on in our house right now. That's for sure.
No doubt, it sounds like it. Let's get to know you a little bit better. When did you first get into basketball? Who first introduced you to the game, and when do you recall first picking up the sport?
You know, I think my dad probably first introduced me to the game. I can remember when he put a basketball hoop in our driveway. We lived in Memphis, Tennessee. My dad was a pilot for FedEx for a long time, and so we were stationed there in Memphis. And this was probably when I was 4 or 5 years old. I can remember starting to play. I had an older brother who was 5 years older than me, so I was always trying to get out there on the court with him. And so that was kind of my first initial memories of playing basketball, and just fell in love with it at a young age, and really haven't put the ball down since.
I had an older brother as well, and I can still remember the day when we were playing one-on-one and I finally beat him. Do you have that moment in your memory as well?
I do. I can remember the specific time when I beat my older brother. My brother played in high school, was a solid player in high school, but never had the opportunity to go play in college or anything like that. And obviously, with him being 5.5 years older than me, was a lot bigger than me and could kind of bully me around. And I think the first time I beat him was the last time I beat him, because I don't think he wanted to play me anymore after that. And I think that's the way it works with most, older brother, younger brother battles out there. And I don't think he wanted to play me anymore after that.
You did go on to play college ball. You played at Florida State. Injuries were a theme for you at the collegiate level. Talk about your time as a college basketball player and what you learned through that process that you've taken into coaching now.
Yeah, so I had an unbelievable experience in college. I went to play at Florida State. I ended up being there for 6 years. Certainly wasn't things didn't necessarily turn out or go the way that I had planned on them going. I don't think anybody goes to college and planning on being there for 6 years or being a part of a program for that long. But Florida State was my dream school growing up. My father played baseball at Florida State. My mom went to school there. So I had a long family tradition of Florida State. And I had some extended family, some relatives, aunts, uncles, and cousins that had gone there. And so that was my dream school growing up. I was brainwashed from a young age to think about Florida State. And so I grew up going to football, baseball, basketball games when I was a young kid. And so it was really a dream come true for me to get the opportunity to be able to go there as a scholarship athlete and play basketball. Was really a dream come true for me. I went through a coaching change when I was there. And after my second year, the coach who had recruited me got let go, and Leonard Hamilton came in. And so I played for Leonard Hamilton for 4 years. I was really very fortunate. I know there's a lot of uncertainty when a coaching change takes place. And I ended up, hitting it off really well with Coach Hamilton, have a great relationship with him to this day. And I just think I was his type of player. I was somebody who could help him establish a culture at that time, which was probably the most important thing to him. Just trying to get the program off the ground at that So for me, I had an unbelievable experience when I was there. I did have 2 major injuries when I was there. My second year, the first game of the year against Florida, I tore my MCL. So I missed the remainder of that year. I tried to come back, but wasn't able to. And going into my third year, 5th game of the year, I blew my wrist out. I went up for a layup, and a guy took my legs out from underneath me, and I came down on my wrist and missed the remainder of that year. So it was a tough experience at the time, but looking back on it, I had the opportunity to earn a master's degree while I was still playing for Florida State. And so it was really it was a great experience for me.
I like to ask athletes when they're injured if they see the game differently because they are on the sidelines with the coaching staff. They're spending more time looking at the overview instead of their specific position. So did you find that similar for you?
I did, and I think that's where I first developed my first love for coaching. When I had a chance to step back and being able to play, once I got over my initial disappointment of not being able to play, that you're not really a part of what's going on, started trying to find ways to help the team. And that's where I developed my first love for the other side of it, for coaching. And so what I did, Coach Hamilton and the rest of his staff really had an open door to be able to go in there and just watch film with them and just see what goes on a day-to-day basis kind of behind the scenes. Because as a player, you really don't have an appreciation for what goes on behind the scenes, for how much work goes into recruiting kids to come to your school, or putting together a practice plan, or dissecting film and breaking it down and being able to present that to your team. So that was my first opportunity during that 2-year window where I said, okay, I think this is something that I would like to do moving forward. And it's really turned into a passion of mine and something that I love. And just been really fortunate to be a part of Coach Byington's staff. And he's done such a tremendous job everywhere he's been. And so I feel very blessed from that standpoint.
You talked about moving your family from Georgia to Virginia and still searching for a house. And when there's a family involved making a move, it's a more difficult decision than it is if you were on your own and you were single. So obviously the connection you had to Coach Byington gave you some insight to him and what he expected. But what else was it about this job that attracted you to it?
Well, the familiarity that Coach Byington had with James Madison, he was able to clearly elaborate the opportunity that was there. With him growing up just an hour and a half down the road there in Salem, and him already having a familiarity with the university and with the area, I've always followed the CAA conference from afar because of Coach Byington, because of his past, having played at UNC Wilmington. And we always go back and forth between Coach Byington and I about who's the best player on our staff. And so Coach Byington still gives me a hard time about that today. But so I've always, I spent 6 years with Coach Byington at College of Charleston when we were in the Southern Conference. And so I've always followed the College of Charleston since we worked there so long. And so seeing them transition into the CAA. So I've always had a particular interest in watching the conference. So I've always heard just nothing but great things about James Madison. Actually, one of my best friends who I grew up with is Grant Kane. He's an assistant coach on the football staff there. And we went to the same high school, played high school basketball together. And so he was able, he has a family, has 2 young boys and a wife. And so he was able to kind of ease the transition and kind of make me more familiar with family activities going on in the Harrisonburg area and things like that. So it's been a really smooth transition so far. I think once we find a house, that'll kind of enable us to really get settled in.
Tell me what aspect of being a college basketball coach you love the most, because there's so many layers to it. Oftentimes, I think there are layers that fans don't even recognize. But what do you enjoy the most about your job?
Yeah, the relationships that you get to establish with the guys. The fact that you get to establish relationships with people that you probably would never get the opportunity to do that with, people from all walks of life. You truly get an opportunity to change the trajectory of some young man's life. A lot of times we're recruiting kids who are the first one in the entire family to not only attend college, but get the opportunity to graduate from college. And when you see kids through like that, it's a really, really cool thing. And when you get the opportunity to continue lifelong relationships with those types of kids, it's just really, it gives you an opportunity to step back from the basketball piece of it. The decision that you're going to make to go to college somewhere is a lot more important than just the basketball part. There's a lot more to this decision. There's a social piece to it, an academic piece. And so the opportunity to just really help young men improve their situations, in some cases improve their lives, and to be able to help them live their dreams out, to go play professional basketball or to go work in the professional world or in the business world in some aspect is a really rewarding part of the job.
Coach, hopefully you find that house in Harrisonburg very, very soon. And hopefully we're in the new house, the Atlantic Union Bank Center, very soon, tipping off for basketball. Welcome to JMU Nation. Thanks for taking time to join us this afternoon.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Dave.